Christmas night, 1945. A family of 13 goes to sleep in their home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. By morning, 5 of their children are gone. The house burned to the ground. But here is what nobody could explain. No bones. No remains. No proof they ever died in that fire. And for the next 70 years, their mother never stopped believing her children were still alive. This is the Sodder children mystery, and it remains one of the most disturbing unsolved cases in American history. To understand what happened that night, you need to understand the Sodder family. George Sodder was an Italian immigrant who built a successful trucking business in West Virginia. He and his wife Jenny had 10 children together. By all accounts, they were a close, happy family. Their home was a large 2-story house. George had recently had the electrical wiring updated, or so he believed. On the night of December 24, 1945, the family celebrated Christmas Eve together. The younger children were excited. They begged their parents to stay up late. George and Jenny eventually said goodnight and went to bed around midnight. 4 of the older children stayed up a little longer. At around 1 a.m., Jenny Sodder woke up. The house was on fire. Jenny immediately woke George. They grabbed the children closest to them and ran outside into the freezing night. But 5 of their children were still inside. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny Jr. and Betty, ages ranging from 5 to 14. George ran back toward the house. The flames were already overwhelming, but he tried. He tried 4 separate times to get back inside. He attempted to climb to the second-floor window. The ladder was gone from where it was always kept. He tried to use his truck to climb up. Both of his trucks, which had been working perfectly the day before, would not start. The fire burned so fast that by the time the fire department arrived, 4 hours later, nothing was left but ash and rubble. And in all of that ash and rubble, no bones, no remains, nothing. 5 children, simply gone. Investigators initially ruled the deaths accidental. Faulty wiring, they said. The children's remains were consumed by the fire. But George Sodder wasn't satisfied. And neither were the facts. First, the fire chief found a box near the fuse box. It was a device that, if used correctly, could have deliberately caused a short circuit. This was never investigated further. Second, a witness reported seeing a man take something from beneath one of George's trucks the night before the fire. This was never identified. Third, George's trucks. Both failed to start that night. Both started perfectly the very next morning. Fourth, the ladder. It was always kept beside the house. That night it was found thrown into a bush 40 feet away. Fifth, and most disturbing, a telephone operator reported that someone called her office repeatedly through the night while the fire was burning. She described the caller as laughing. None of this added up to an accident. But the most important question was still unanswered. Where were the bodies? Here is what you need to understand about house fires and human remains. A crematorium, specifically designed to incinerate human bodies, burns at over 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 3 hours. And even then, bone fragments always remain. The Sodder house fire burned for approximately 45 minutes. Investigators found a small amount of vertebrae in the rubble. The state's chief medical examiner later stated the vertebrae appeared to be beef bones, not human, and could not have survived that fire regardless. No other remains were ever found. This means one of 2 things. Either those 5 children were removed from that house before or during the fire, or something happened to them that has never been explained. In the months after the fire, something strange began happening. Multiple witnesses came forward claiming they had seen the Sodder children, alive, the morning after the fire. A woman running a local motel said she saw the 5 children with 2 men and 2 women. She said the children looked frightened. She thought nothing of it at the time. Another witness saw them near a car heading toward the highway. George and Jenny Sodder refused to give up. They erected a billboard on a busy highway, featuring photos of their 5 missing children and a $5,000 reward. That billboard stood for decades. But the most chilling moment came in 1967. 22 years after the fire, Jenny Sodder received a photograph in the mail. No return address. On the front was a photo of a young man, perhaps in his late 20s, who looked strikingly similar to what Louis Sodder might have looked like as an adult. On the back were 4 words. Louis Sodder. I love brother. Frankie. A 090132. The number was never identified. The photo was never traced, and Louis Sodder was never found. So what actually happened to the Sodder children? 3 main theories exist. Theory 1, they died in the fire. This is what authorities concluded, but the complete absence of remains, combined with the multiple witness sightings, makes this the hardest theory to accept. Theory 2, they were kidnapped before the fire was set. George Sodder had a history of speaking out against Benito Mussolini publicly. Some researchers believe this angered members of the Italian community, or possibly even organized crime figures, enough to retaliate. The fire may have been deliberately set as punishment, and the children taken. Theory 3, the children escaped the fire and were taken by someone they trusted. Perhaps someone told them their parents were already outside. Perhaps they were lured out, and whoever took them made sure they were never found. No theory has ever been proven. No arrest was ever made. Jenny Sodder died in 1989, never knowing what happened to her children. George died in 1968, the same way. The billboard stood until the family finally took it down, decades after the fire. And the 5 Sodder children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny Jr., and Betty, remain missing to this day. Some cases don't have answers. Some families never get closure. But as long as people keep asking questions, cases like this one are never truly cold. If this case made you think, subscribe to CrimeLens. We investigate the cases the world forgot, every single week. The next case we're covering, you won't sleep after watching it. See you then.